Hi, Jenna.
Hi, Pam.
So I want to get viewers acquainted with you because obviously I know you, but not everyone does. So if you could just give us a
Yes.
quick, brief summary, tell us your name, obviously, Jenna, where you live, what you do for your job, and a little bit about your family.
Awesome. Okay. Well, my name is Jenna Vantile. I am 31. I have two kiddos. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. I am married. My husband is a part-time farmer, so we live on 80 acres, and he does about 1,000 acres total for the whole year. So he is way more busier than I am. So
What does he do
yes.
outside of farming, though?
So for his full-time job, he's a project manager at Westland Construction, which is a dirt/construction company in Baser. So, but they do
Okay.
jobs like in Manhattan, and they do like bigger like storm sewage jobs, things like that. So,
Okay.
so he does have a full-time job, but then does that in the evenings and on the weekends for farming.
Okay. Very busy.
So
And then
yeah.
tell me what you do.
So yes, so we've been working from home for a year now, which has been a godsend. Like it's a blessing. I'm so thankful. But I am an inside regional sales manager for Vin Solutions, overall Cox Automotive, and we sell software to car dealerships. So you think you have an awful job? Well, imagine selling to a car dealer.
So you said you have two kids.
Yes. So Bannon is 4. She is. We've started T-ball. We are so excited about T-ball, and she will start kindergarten in August. She's going to be a little baser bobcat, so we're super. She's so excited. Yes. Oh yeah. So Benton, he is 2, and he is wild. Like he's just like he's gonna be a little football player. I mean, he's like at 100% in the weight percentile, and he's just a big guy. He takes after my husband, like super laid back, so chill, like nothing like gets him overwhelmed or overexcited. And you got myself and Bannon over here that are like freaking out over matching hoodies, right?
Yes, it's a
So
good balance, though.
it is a
Joshua and I
good
were just
balance,
talking
but
about
I'm like,
this.
no more
Couple.
kids. We are done. I'm like my level is 2, like having the 2 kids, like they're at the age now where we're having fun. I don't have to take the whole house when we go anywhere.
Yes.
They're pretty much self-sufficient somewhat. And then with Josh being gone so much, I'm like I'm good with 2. So that's it.
Yeah. When you add the third, it's a whole new level
I
for
know, and you
sure.
guys have 3, and I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know how she does it.
Well, I think there's just like I'm like, if it's not going to cause a trip to the hospital, then just try it. And then
Yeah,
just get
absolutely.
out there and learn because that's,
Yeah.
you've learned by the third, I've learned they're not going to listen to me anyway. So
Right, because they need to learn on their own and have that
yeah.
experience.
So let's talk about what your daily schedule is like. So obviously, hubby's gone quite a bit. The
Yeah,
oldest one is not in kindergarten yet, so neither one
right,
are in school,
right. So
and you work.
so they go to an actual like school, but it's like advanced kindergarten, like toddlers, like, but they do have like curriculum and stuff like that. So
Oh, cool.
they go to that during the day. And so, which is nice because then I can be at home during the day because Josh, obviously, he's out in the field again, like working with his full-time job. And so literally, for example, today I got 4 miles in this morning. It was gorgeous. It was like 65 degrees outside. So I have a few little ladies that they actually walk and I run, but we go into town and we like meet. And so I was up at 4:30 this morning, got my stuff together, and I was out the house by 5:05, met them at 5:15, did my run. It actually took, I think it was like 40 minutes for the run, which was a good goal. That was like 10 minutes, an average a mile. So that was awesome. And get home, and then Josh then goes to work, and then I get myself ready, get the kids together, ready in the morning, and then, work for 8, 9 hours, however long. I usually log off around 5:30 and go get the kids. And then between 5, like we get home at like 6, and between 6 and 8, it is wild. Like it is making dinner, cleaning the dishes. The kids are like, I want a snack. I'm hungry. Where's my iPad? I want to watch a movie. And then it's
Yes,
like,
I get all of that.
yeah. And then 7, it's like go time where my kids take a shower, which I recommend having your children take a shower because it's so much easier. So usually the shower takes about like 15 minutes. And then after that, like I have a thing now where I can get them both in their jammies, get them both ready. And, they're in bed by 7:45 at the latest. So, and then after that, and then it's funny, my husband makes fun of me so much because I'm in bed by like 8:30. So I'm like, I got 45 minutes.
Well, when you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you would have to go to bed early.
Yeah. There are some days where I'm like, if I don't have it planned, and if the night before, if I have to have it planned because I have to have my mind set. Also, I have to go to bed early because I need to get at least 8 hours of sleep. But I find, I ran 2 half marathons. Gosh, what was it about, like, would it be 10 years ago? When I graduated from college and I was trying out for Chiefs, I also was running half marathons. So I did 2 half marathons. I mean, we were, running in like negative degree weather, right? So I don't know if it's because I just find so much joy in running and, waking up in the morning, I'm like, I'm ready to go. Like, and like, it takes that mindset that like, I've got it done already for the day. I don't have to take another shower later today. Like, and it just gives me more time to work. And it gives me, cause there's no way I would have time in the evening to do it. Right.
Right.
Cause I just have like 45 minutes and that's getting myself ready, for the next day. Right. Everything is very much down to like a routine, like time. If I look at the clock and it's 9 o'clock and I haven't done half the stuff, I'm like, well, I failed because I don't know where, like, I'm like, and then I start getting anxiety because I'm like, oh my God, I only have 7 hours of sleep.
I'm horrible about sleep. And it's something I harp on with my clients all the time. I'm like, for your muscles to recover, you have to have sleep. So, and as a former personal trainer, you understand this, like you've got to have that recovery. So I'm amazed at you early morning people.
So I do stay up every now and then, but it's when I know the next morning that I'm like, oh, I can sleep in until 7:30, right? Or I don't have to get up at the crack of dawn to go, exercise.
So 7:30 would be sleeping in for you.
Yes, 7:30 is sleeping in.
So obviously you've been into fitness for a long time.
Yes.
And I want to talk about your fitness philosophy for a minute. What is it and how did you get there?
Yeah. So, I don't have a statement per se, but, I've done cheer and dance my whole life. And, cheer was huge. I, cheered in college. Like I had mentioned before, I tried out for Chiefs and I also have danced professionally, for professional soccer team in Topeka. My thing is, staying active and staying in the best shape that you can literally, gives you that motivation. It gives you that determination. And it just makes you a happier person, in general, right? Because I'll tell you, there have been times when, one day I will exercise and I'll get logged on for work and my outlook on the day is solid. Like I am in such a good mood. Nothing persuades me, bothers me. If it does, then I just take care of it. Right. And then there are those days when I don't exercise or I'm like, I just have a completely different outlook on the day. Right. So, and I know there's days where you need to rest, right? And I've got, those, cause I exercise about 5 days a week and give myself those 2 days to rest and relax and not have to exercise or make it a priority. But, on those days that I do exercise, like, it's those endorphins are huge, right? And knowing that you are bettering yourself on a day-to-day basis, and being able to set your mind, it literally is mind over matter, having your mind in that right set when you start the day, makes the day go by so much more smooth, and just more enjoyable.
Okay, good.
you like. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some days where I'm like, oh, there for a while, I was like, had my alarm set to exercise in the morning, and I'm like, nope, I'm sleeping in, right? But I catch myself tossing and turning, and in my mind, I'm like, I should have got up. I should have got up and exercised. But no, I am sitting here sulking in my feelings and trying to fall back asleep, and it's not working, right? So I'd rather get up and get that workout in and get that done and out of the way, instead of just laying there thinking about, oh, I should have done it when I should have just done it.
Right. Yeah, I get that. I totally get. So I want to talk a little bit about what you did for exercise before COVID. So obviously you were going into an office every day, but you've always been an early riser. I know that.
Right.
So now you either get up and run, or on the days that you don't run, what do you do?
So, before COVID started, so we were going to the office, right? And so I've got a girlfriend, Emily, who works on the dealer.com side, but we are on the same floor. She was just on the other wing of the floor, right? And her and I got into 9 rounds. We started doing the 30-minute kickboxing, right? And we made it a goal to go on lunch, every day or every other day, or at least when we could. But, that was the beginning of, I started 9 rounds, right? So I love 9 rounds because, you have that high intensity. It's for 30 minutes. But I will tell you now, after COVID hit, I have now, so that was probably about a year that I did 9 rounds. And that was where I lost weight. I went from a size, was wearing a medium in, leggings, and now I'm down to an extra small.
Wow.
So I saw the results from 9 rounds. And so now, COVID hit, 9 rounds thankfully had a portal, and we were able to do them at home, but it wasn't the same.
It's
but at
not,
least we were still moving, right? And then now that we are adjusting, I'm working from home now. I'm not able to go with Emily on lunch, but her and I still drive. I'm still driving 30 minutes, and doing that on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And then I run on Tuesday, Thursday. I take off Friday, and I take off Sunday, right?
Okay, good.
On my rest days. Yeah. Because I realized when I was doing 9 rounds, I needed to go, every day or as many days as possible to get my body used to it, and then start losing and tightening, right? In getting those, half of those rounds are with gloves on in boxing, but the other half is jump rope, crunches, or using weights in your body weight, right? So I feel like having that, year to adjust to it. And then now I don't have to go every day. Now I go, every other day. So
you're still going.
Also, I will say, do what?
I was just wondering, at any point, did 9 rounds close?
They did. Yeah. They closed for, gosh, I can't remember how many months, but that was where we had the portal that we could go on, and they had, the preset recorded videos already done that you can just pop on and click, and you do your 30-minute workout. But I'm over here at that time, it was like a makeshift office. I don't have what I have now, but it was I'm working out in my hallway. That's where we had the hardwood floors at. It was difficult, but we made it work, because I made, my fitness, and I made my exercise and my, workout routine a priority, to get it done and have something that I enjoy doing.
So do you think, I'm just curious, do you think that if COVID had hit, like you said, so you've been doing 9 rounds for 2 years now. So 2 years ago, if COVID had hit when you were still a size medium, do you think you would have had that dedication to kind of continue at home?
No, I don't. I think that, 9 rounds had set that precursor and was you're doing so good now. I'm the type of person that when I see results, then I'm okay, I want to keep going and get the best results that I can. Right. So, with COVID hitting, I'm I've got to we've got to stay back, because I got results before COVID hit. But it was a hard adjustment, and also having that diversity too, right? Because I'm oh, okay, I look forward to going to 9 rounds today, or yesterday, and today, I'm looking forward to running, and switching it up a bit. when things come mundane and the same thing over and over again, that is then where I feel like people get complacent. They don't see the results, and then they don't go anymore, and they don't do it anymore.
Right. I agree.
Also, that's funny too, is then if I if my schedule's off or whatever, we have an unfinished basement, but there's still quite a bit of room down there. And so, I moved their toys, and I got those the colorful foam pads. And I made a kid area for them to play down there so I could, walk on the treadmill or do weights and stuff, right? So I know that if I need like a quick workout in, or if I'm not going to make it to, 9 rounds in time, then I just take the kids down there and I do my thing and they play. And obviously after like 20 minutes, they're like flocking towards me because they're getting bored.
So, what type of music do you normally listen to when you work out?
Yeah, so it's like I'm like so from one extreme to the other, right? Like I could totally I listen to Pandora, and like Sundays I'm like I want like that 90s rock, like hardcore, like just like pour some sugar on me and like songs like that. Like I'm just like, and it's wild. And then there's Sundays where I'm like I want to listen to some trap music, right? Like some R&B and just like awful rap music. And then there are days when I'm like, I want to listen to Spice Girls, and I listen to NSYNC and Spice Girls, right? So it's very diverse. It just depends on what I feel that day. And for my dancing days, like we did like pop and hip hop, right?
Yeah.
So, but obviously across the board, it has to be, upbeat, fast, wild. Like I will tell you though, like I was cooking dinner last night and I'm like, I've been listening to I also listen to upbeat and high intense music as well when I work, right? Because it just keeps me in the mood and it keeps me, and I kind of have to in the line of work that I do, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna calm down just a little bit. And I'm over here making dinner because I get anxiety when I make dinner and I stress eat, when I'm eating some potato chips while I'm trying to make dinner because I'm stress eating because there's nothing else I know what to do, right?
Right.
So I'm like, I'm going to put on some classical music. So I just did Alexa, and I'm like, put some classical music on, and it was so nice. The music calmed us down, calmed me down. I'm more focused on making dinner. I'm not stress eating. It was so nice. And I'm like, I'm going to do that again tonight.
So what song gets you the most pumped? Like if you're in the middle of a workout and you're like, need some extra motivation, what are you going to put on?
Oh, what is that? It's like an AC/DC song. I can't, is it We Will Rock You? Is it that one? Maybe it's that one, but I know that there's when an AC/DC song comes on, I'm like, I'm wild. Like I'm there.
That's funny.
I cheered in high school. When we would get ready for we would be out on the football field and we would have to do the run through, that was the kind of music that they played. And then I just had such a great experience doing, high school football games and stuff like that, that I just kept that mindset. And so now when I hear that, I'm like, oh my God, I want to run through a banner. Where's my finish line?
That's funny. I think it's funny too how music causes memories to come back, and then that can put you in a different mood. So
awesome.
I like to talk about this because I think we ourselves are our worst critics, and the more we discuss this with each other, I think it helps.
Mm-hmm.
What's the one thing you would change about your body?
I'll tell you, having 2 kids, that is a whole nother mindset, right? When I was dancing and before I got married, before I had kids, man, I was in the best shape of my life, right? I was so tight and little, and I was there, and I loved it. And then, after having 2 kids, they just suck all the nutrients out of your body and you're literally left with nothing, right?
Yeah.
So So, I think, and I had 2 C-sections. So I had an emergency C-section, then we're like, let's just go with it again.
Right.
Less risk, right, on the delivery. So, thank God when I did that, they, and not to get too personal, but they went low enough that they did not, break my abdomen wall. They did not, it wasn't anything like the C-section so-called used to be.
Right.
Because I was actually afraid to get a C-section because I'm like, they're going to ruin my stomach. But it's not like that anymore. So I still have that strength, but I would say probably my stomach would probably still be one thing that would make me still insecure about my body. But eating right, and controlling your stress levels, controlling how you do when you're stressed. But also, my stomach is where, everything goes when
Right.
the stress and, it's like I'm fine with my, bottom. I have no hips, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm literally a pull down underneath.
You can have some of
Waist
mine.
down, I've got
extra.
nothing, right? So, I don't feel like I need to worry about that, but I would say my stomach would be the one that and after having kids, and luckily I did not experience any stretch marks when I was pregnant or anything like that, or any, excess loose skin, but it is, it can be tighter. It can look a lot better than what it does.
Right. It doesn't ever go back to before. Like,
it doesn't. So then, knowing that it will never be like it did, because we literally giving life to human beings, and that's
right.
like the number one job out of any job possible, or any
Right.
duty or responsibility. But it's like that mindset of knowing like what this looks like now is okay. I'm happy with this, and so that's the mindset I have to keep telling myself, that,
Right.
this is fine. What you look like is perfectly fine. So
Well, and I
I'm
love that
not that I'm
because,
struggling with it, but it's something I still have to keep reminding
right.
myself.
That's wonderful because everyone has those few things that they would change if they could. When you say I have loose skin, it's
Uh-huh.
something that, I've dealt with as a mom, but instead of
Yes.
saying I'm going to go have this surgically fixed, you have gotten to a different mindset and said, well, I have given life to 2 wonderful beings,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I am doing everything I can for my body to help it be
Mhm.
healthy and help me have energy and help me manage my stress. And I'm okay with this. So
Right.
I think that's a
Yeah.
wonderful thing, that if we could all get into that mindset and just be able to accept where we are right now, and
Right.
maybe continue to work on change if it's something you're able to do. But if not, just understand, like, I'm here. This made me who I
And
am,
this
and
is
I
the
can be
like
okay with it.
this right, and this is where you're at in life. Like, okay, maybe there's like 10% of the world that have the same body their whole entire life, but you go through so many things in life. People go through divorces, people go through having babies, and
Right.
your weight is up and down. And also, you lose that metabolism that you used to have, right?
Right.
And your body, like, okay, so my granny, she just turned 103 years old, so I'm like, holy cow, number one, you're 103. But it's like, your body is, as the days go on, the months, the years, life goes on, like, you do deteriorate, right? So, and
Right.
it's like, so you have to do all you can to preserve that. And that is having a healthy mind, right? Knowing that your body is progressing in life, and knowing that you have to go with that progression,
Right.
um, and adjust and change to where you are comfortable with that progression and where you're at in life.
Right. That's wonderful. So you talked a little bit about cooking and stress eating. Tell me about what your diet's like outside of the potato chips.
Oh God, I have to tell you, my number one weakness is a regular Lay's potato chip in the yellow bags. I'm obsessed. I eat. I will make myself sick because I like suck the salt off. It's like all weird. It's just a weird moment. My diet is not, As it should be, right? I know how I should eat healthy, but also it is hard now being at home and your kitchen is literally 2 steps away. And for dinners, I do HelloFresh. I find that very convenient. I find that knowing what's prepped and what's ready to go to cook is definitely so nice, because you're like, oh, we'll do this one and then that's it, right? But you still have to cut it. You still have to, make it right. So when I talk about like stress eating, because literally coming off of the day of working in a high energy, type of position, I
Dealing
go
with
get
car
the
dealers.
kids. Yeah, talking to car dealers, right? They make you crazy, literally. So coming off of that high, getting the kids, and then it like spikes up again, because I'm like, okay, now here's my second job. Second job is I got to make dinner. I got the kids into bed, get baths. So that anticipation, it's like, it kind of gets to me. So while I'm over here making my HelloFresh meal, I'm like, eating these I'm just eating trash, really is all it is. Cause I'm over here like eating fruit snacks. Like I don't even like fruit snacks, but I'm eating them, right? Cause they're there
Right.
for the kids, right? So that would be one thing that I am working better on, to not do that and just like focus. For example, the classical music while I'm making it, like it's making me focus. And so, making little changes in, consciously thinking, I don't need that. I don't need those fruit snacks. Like, give them to the kids. That's what they're there for.
Right. Right.
Right. So, I am also a firm believer that breakfast is huge. That first meal in the morning is huge. I'm on Instagram, and, everyone's all about the intermittent fasting. Do you intermittent fast? Do you do that?
No, but I have.
So, I've done it before. I've waited in the morning until like 10 o'clock to eat. Not for me. It's not, I'm like, it's a struggle. It's such a struggle. And I'm a huge believer on breakfast to get your energy going, as long as you eat the right thing, right? So I get on Instagram, and there's this app that they're advertising. It's called Simple, right? So I'm like, okay, it's a free app. I'm going to download it and try it. Well, it was not a free app. They're going to charge me $30 a month. And their thing is, how much weight do you want to lose? In what time frame? So I'm like, I think 10 pounds in 2 months, 5 pounds each month. So that's like a 1 to 1.5 pounds a week. Right. I think that is realistic, right? So I enter it, and they were having me only eat between the hours of 6 a.m. and 2 in the afternoon. So between 2 in the afternoon until the next morning, they're like, you need to drink just water if you have like any urges to eat. I'm like, absolutely not. Like who? And then they're like, you need to carb up when you have that last meal at 2 o'clock. I'm like, I'm out. Like,
No.
Get this off my phone. This is ridiculous. So, eating that not huge, but eating a, protein based, like not heavier, but, jam packed almost breakfast, because that gets you started for the day. That gives you that energy that your body needs, because that versus not eating anything and you exercise, it's a bad deal, right? When your body,
because then you're dragging.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, though, is that, they do say, okay, 80-20, right? 80% is the diet, 20% is exercise. Yeah, that's 100%, because I can see myself, I will exercise all day, every day. But if I'm over here eating chips or, French fries, or I'm not watching what I'm eating, like it's out the window. I'm getting worse,
Right.
But when I see myself eating vegetables, greens, fruits, and eating chicken versus, the red meats, right? Eating fish versus the red meats, like I feel a difference. I can see a difference. And then that's the mindset that I have to remember to stay on that, consistent, healthy diet. And, I also tried keto, and I'll tell you, I did keto for a month. I lost 7 pounds in a month on keto. But I'm going to tell you, we did know your numbers at work, like the next week after I did that, off the charts. My cholesterol was off. My glucose was off. I do those know your numbers every year. I've been with Cox for 6 years now. Right. Every year I've had a green light for everything. Like, good job. And then when I did it that time, I had like 3 reds and I had to go and consult with my physician because my numbers came back wrong. So I'm like, I'm off that. Like, so, the fad diets are not, I can't do them. And, you see those instant results, but they are not healthy in the long run. Because then if I kept doing that because the weight, and like my blood pressure was off. I have never had an issue with my blood pressure ever until I was eating those, high fats, red meats, and it just was not, my body just could not take that.
Right. What is what's been your biggest failure with fitness, and what did you learn from that?
I would say the biggest failure, I would probably say, and not a failure, but it's the whole eating thing, right? Eating healthy, that would be my biggest challenge. But obviously that is something that will keep, I feel like, evolving over time. I'll get there one day. It is literally a life change. And, having that mindset of knowing that eating healthy is going to save you in the long run versus not, right? So also then I would say with fitness, I would say a failure on my end is that I should have stayed in dance. I love dance, and, I did every single form of dance. I went from ballet to hip hop to cheering and dancing professionally for sporting events. Like, everything's like, I've had the babies, I've been married, we are financially happy, set, we're here the rest of our lives. Now is my time and also finding the time, right? So, which can be doable, because if you want to do something, you're going to find the time to do it, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So, I think that'll be a goal for me. Just some sort of but not like Zumba. I need something more intense than that, right? So it's just finding a place where I'm comfortable with doing that, and then making the time to do it. I just need to get back into it because, I'm like so cliche with the whole whatever brings you joy, do it. Well, it's very true. Like dancing and, being and having an exercise for dancing and doing that for my exercise makes me so happy. And it's enjoyable, cool. And I want to keep doing it.
So at what point did you sort of fall off with being so active? I mean, obviously pregnancy does that to you, but at what point was that pivotal moment where you were like, no, I have to get back into exercise because this is my stress management. This is my happy. Like, can you talk a little bit about when you fell off and when you finally were like, I have to do this?
It really does. Like you said, it revolves around the kids. I'll tell you, I got married when I was 25. And then we were married for 4 years, and then we started, and we had Bannon, right? So, thank God I was still, physically fit and in shape up until then, because obviously that makes the pregnancies and the deliveries like so much easier, right? Like when I was pregnant with Benton, my girlfriend Emily and I were at Planet Fitness, and then I went in the next day to have a C-section, right?
Wow.
So, but I'll tell you, like when I first got pregnant, I was like, man, I'm going to live it up. I'm going to live it up. Like that was where I fell off. Right. And then I didn't fall completely off. I still walked. I was actually getting into, bar classes where it is a form of ballet, but it's very low intense, but, you have the tightening of the muscles, and you still have that part of the exercise for the body. So I got into that, and gave birth. Then I'm like, and then I allowed myself mentally, physically, I gave myself that time to recover from having a C-section, getting my body to where I don't push it too hard, start off slow, kind of got back up. And then we planned on having Benton, and he came 2 years after that. And I stayed active too during that. And then my husband and I made a final decision. We're like, no more kids. This is it. We are done. And so now that kind of gave me the go ahead and the green light that I'm like, I can do whatever I want now with my body. So I'm like, I want to keep moving forward with staying healthy, staying active, possibly getting back into dance, like, making that time now for me. Right. So for those however many years with having both of the babies, getting them to where, they're out of that infant stage and they're in that
Mm-hmm.
toddler stage, and we know that they're healthy, and we know that, they can somewhat entertain themselves, right? I'm like, now is the time where I'm going to do that self-care, and my self-care is exercising and making my body to where I want it to be and where I'm happy with. Because when you are obviously happy with what you have internally, and with your body, it just makes confidence, happiness, like it just encompasses everything else to where you
Right.
are happy in life.
And did you see a difference from how you dealt with the kids and just daily life? And I know you hit on this earlier, but I mean, to me, I see a difference on how I deal with my family. So do you get
Yeah.
that same, that's
Yeah.
that
I'll tell you
adjustment?
yeah. So, when I see myself just in general, like when I haven't exercised 1 day, 2 days, I'm very much, quick, snappy. I'm in a bad mood. But when I do exercise, like I'm there and I have that energy, and I just am such a better mom, a coworker, a better person, a better friend, wife. Like I just am a better person all around when I am getting the exercise in, because it is
Mm.
huge. And we downplay it so much, right? That it's
Right.
not like, it has to be at the top of your priority list, right? Of things to be done on a daily or to have in your routines throughout the
Right.
week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when let's say you've had a bad day, you're in the middle of a workout, you're trying to push yourself through, what do you kind of tell yourself to get to that end?
Yeah. And it's in that, when you say that, it reminds me, I'm like literally running on the treadmill, and I'm like holding on to it to like keep myself there. I'm like, it's like, I usually keep my workouts to 30 minutes at a max 45, right? So I literally just tell myself, you're already here. You've already put in 20, 25 minutes. Just finish it, right?
Right.
But that's like few and far between, right? Because I know my thing is getting on the treadmill or going to the gym, or getting into an activity. It's the part of getting there is where I'm like, yes, I'm gonna get it. But then there's other days where I'm like, man, I'm tired, like I don't want to go, right? But when I'm like in the middle of a workout, I'm pretty good at staying consistent, and like power through the last, like, what, 10, 15 minutes or however long I have left. But there have been some times when I'm on the treadmill and I'm like holding on because I'm like so tired. I'm like, I want to get off of here, but I have 5 minutes left. Like I can do this.
5 minutes. So how do you get yourself going whenever you're like, I just don't want to work out. I don't want to do this today. I'm tired or stressed or whatever. How do you get yourself up and going into
Yeah, well, I
that five
definitely
mile
chug some
run?
pre-workout. I'm definitely a firm believer with pre-workout. I definitely love pre-workout. And, also I'll say, like, having workout gear, like comfortable workout gear and gear that
Mhm.
you actually like don't have to pull up every 5 seconds, or you don't have to pull
Right.
down, right? Knowing that you have the proper equipment, the proper
Hmm.
like attire, you're prepared for what you're going to get yourself into, then
Hmm.
that's where I'm like, I'm there. Like I got it, right? I'm like
So do you keep
excited.
like the pre-workout on the nightstand, like snort it real quick before you?
Yeah, pretty much. It's in the fridge, so like I
I'm not
obviously do
condoning
it the
drug
night
use, by
before.
the way.
So
Just let me say that I'm not condoning drug use. It was just funny.
I try like different ones, and there was one that I think I just bought off the shelf at Target because I was like in a bind. I needed one like the next day, and then knowing if I didn't have any pre-workout for my workout, I'm like getting anxiety.
So obviously, you use exercise and activity to manage your stress level. But
Yeah.
outside of that, like, do you have something that you go to that will help you sort of calm down, focus on your task? I mean, what do you
Yeah,
do?
really it's, and I don't get, like stressed out, because I do a good job of managing my stress, but I'll tell you, when there are like stressful times, for example, when Bannon was diagnosed with her birth defect last year, like that was so stressful. I could see it in my face. I could see it, the stress like literally pouring out of me. I had like literally adult acne for the longest time. I could tell like my sleeping was off, and, literally just taking a step back, taking a deep breath for a few minutes, closing your eyes, and just, again, getting in that mindset that like everything is going to be okay. Take one step at a time.
Right.
That literally, like, even just talking to myself, that calms me down and gets me back to a level playing field. For example, the returns. I've got like 3 returns, right? And that's stressful. When am I going to get it done? Where, like,
Right.
I need to plan the time, and I'm just like, take it one day at a time. Do one store Monday, and like plan it out. Plan your attack of how you're going to get it done, or how you're going to maintain, or what you're going to do next. I'm a very firm believer with schedules, with routines. And it is very true. It does keep your life on track, and it keeps you to where you don't spiral out of control. Don't get me wrong. I am over here sometimes in another dimension because I'm so like out of control, but then I'm like, I can't live like this. I can't do this. This is not, there's nothing's happening and going to come out of this. So I need to reel myself back in, get back to reality, and how am I going to fix this? Or how am I going to make this better?
Good. Yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned your daughter, because it was something that I want to hit on, even through doctor's visits and things that you've had to go through. And just because I know a little bit about your backstory, how were you? One thing I hear all the time, like, I have so much going on. I have so much to do. I have so much stress. Exercise is the last thought on my mind. But obviously, whenever we're going through this, so you've been doing 9 rounds for 2 years, right? And then working from home for a year. And this all happened a year ago with your daughter. So, I mean, how did you, just that mindset of still keeping your fitness on track?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about that for a little bit, and just
kind of give me. So she was diagnosed, literally it's been a year, because she was so sick. She would get sick, twice a month, right? And so I'd have to take all that time off, get her to the doctor, get her back. So we were literally at the doctor's, twice a month, getting her antibiotics, things like that. So, going through all that, and then she was diagnosed, and then we had to rule out everything else, right? So, again, back to planning and scheduling and making things a priority, right? Bannon was a priority. She was the number 1 priority, right?
Right.
And so knowing when her next appointments were, knowing when, what times they were at, I would literally just plan around those. And I would make things a priority, meaning exercise was a priority. And I don't want people to think that it's like, I consider, exercising a huge part of life. And, others might not think that, but putting exercise with a priority with my family, like I not put those together or hand in hand, but it's up there, right? So just knowing that I had a plan, like, let's say, like, there were times when we would have to be at the clinic for Bannon from like 8 a.m. until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? So I knew that going into the day, so I'm going to get my ass up, I'm going to exercise, get it out of the way, get the mindset ready for the day, and then we're ready to go. But also, the night before, I've packed everything for that day, snacks or iPads, coloring books. I've packed everything. So I know that the only thing I'm going to have to worry about on that day for me is getting 30 minutes in, 45 minutes in the morning, and getting that preparation was very much a stress killer, right? And knowing that everything is prepared for that day, and having that schedule and that routine that I've planned out and sticking to it. and not letting anything else, interfere, right? And going to bed at a time so then I can't wake up and be like, oh, I'm too tired, right? I'm just going to get that workout done, get it done. I'm going to shower, and then it's time to wake up the kids. And then there's our schedule for the rest of the day. So it's done.
And I love
and
that because I feel like
Yeah.
mom guilt is so bad. It's like
Yeah,
the worst
it
ever.
is.
And then when
Yeah.
you add like your child is sick or hurt, you immediately put yourself on the back burner.
Right.
But to me, it's such a thing that I'm happier, I'm kinder to them.
Yes.
I am much more careful with how I act and how I speak to them. So
Right.
it's like mom guilt. Yes, you don't ever want to feel like you're neglecting your child. But when you tie that exercise into being a better mom, then you're not just doing it for yourself, but you're also doing it for them. And I like to wrap that around to you eat healthy and you stay active so you can fight aging and live longer for them. I mean, it all wraps around to them. So
absolutely. And like we touched on earlier, when Bannon would do something wrong or when Benton would do something wrong, if if I see myself not have exercise or I'm like just not paying attention to what I'm eating, like I am snapping back at them and I am not being the best form of me without having like the staying healthy and staying active. I literally, after like maybe like 3 days of like eating, like I'll tell you the weekends are hard, Saturdays and Sundays, and Fridays evenings are hard. And so I can tell if I haven't, been on the right track because Sunday I am so sluggish and I'm quick to snap and I'm like, get me back to Monday, man.
Get back on that routine. So I love that. So just staying prepared help you fight that mom guilt and keep yourself a priority, which is great. So what advice would you give to someone who is hesitant to start a structured workout program? And I talk a little bit about that in my blog, but so someone who's hesitant, they're saying I'm active, I don't really need anything structured. What advice would you give them?
I say, keep moving forward and do it. What are you going to lose out on? You're losing out on nothing, but you're gaining everything, right?
Right.
And knowing that with it being, structured, knowing that someone has taken the time to do a workout for you that is altered and tailored to you, that is like end all be all, like sign me up right away. If someone's going to take the time to do that for me, then I'm going to take the time and do that for them. Make me a healthier version. And, and then again, repeating what I had said, just there's all the gain, nothing to lose. You're going to lose out. If you didn't like it, then you lost out 30 minutes,
Right. And then you can try something else, right?
And then you can try something else. If you didn't like that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like one of the same person, Pam.
I know, right? So one last thing, is there anything that I didn't ask that you think viewers would be interested to know or hear? What would you say to someone out there watching you, getting motivation, something that we haven't shared yet?
Yeah, I mean, you've touched on so many great things and I have opened up so much, I feel like, and now I'm all like, man, I'm enjoying this. Maybe I should start getting into the fitness industry. Screw these car dealers.
Well, let me get the shop open and then you can just come work for me. That's
absolutely. And being a mom, and we talked about this earlier, and my thing is just to bring it on home, right? Is keep yourself a priority because this is it. This is your life. You have no extra life.
Right.
This is my last day of my life, being 31 on April 27th, right?
Right.
Like I can't get those days back. So make them the best that you can make them. And it's, again, these things are so cliche, but live each day like if it were your last. It's so true. Right. And like in those comments and those statements can be put into any situation. Right. And just knowing that and knowing that making yourself a priority, because if you are that priority, your kids are a priority, your husbands, wives, significant others' priorities. And it's just, and just keep moving, because you can't go backwards. You just got to keep going forwards. And you just have to keep that mindset of knowing that you are making yourself better. You're making others better. It's huge. So like, again, another cliche statement, mind over matter.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we talk about making fitness a priority, but just because you're making that a priority doesn't mean you're putting something else on the back burner.
No,
because like
not.
you said, you make time for what you want to do. And if you want to do it and you can find the motivation even to get started, and then find further motivation from your results, whether it be physical or mental or whatever, then, you make it's a priority because you've decided to make time for it, not because you've put it above everything else.
Absolutely.
And I think you've done that wonderfully.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad that I was able to give insights. And then there was like another thing I wanted to say is, doing with like 9 rounds, right? Like there were quite a few trainers there that I have grown to now be friends with, right? So, and it's not like I'm not promoting going and being part of a gym or being part of like or anything, but it that does help. Like if you are a personal accountability kind of person, having that sort of family, home away from home, that is also huge. And, the ladies that I run with, like this morning, like there were 3 other ladies, and, I told them I would run, and I'm not going to text them at 4:30 in the morning. Sorry guys, I'm not going to make it. Like if they're going to go, I need to go. So, personal accountability is also another huge thing, not only for you, but for others that you are with on the journey of fitness.
Right. And that can be, I mean, you hit on all of it. You can go to a gym setting and get that, or it can be a virtual thing where someone's going to be logging into a Zoom or Facebook Live or whatever it is. I told them I'm going to be there, or if it's 4:30 in the morning, but I told this group of ladies that I'm going to be there. So I think a lot of that ties into it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Well, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else you want to put out there into the world?
I think we're good. I had a lot of fun. We should do this again.
Good. Perfect. Well, Jenna, thank you so much.
You, Pam. I had the best time. That was a lot of fun.
Good. I hope you have the rest of your day.
Absolutely. You too. I'll see you later.